Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Connor Bourne. Connor, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you and we really appreciate it, so thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so it's eviction day and it's gonna be a fun one. So when we left off yesterday, a lot of the house guests were convinced that yesterday was eviction day. Have any of you watched the show before? How often is it that there is a non-Thursday eviction? Get it together. So they were all like, oh my god, it's happening, it's happening. It didn't happen. But the plan was still intact for the 6 shooters to keep Nicole this week and blindside everyone else. They're not even planning on telling Nicole about it. So they're debating whether or not they want to tell like Kat or Jess. There was even discussion at first about trying to convince Nick and Bella that Nicole should be the one to stay, but they didn't end up doing that. They're like, screw them. No, it's gonna be a blindside. I can't wait to see the faces tonight. I do feel bad for Cliff, because especially because he's a super fan, so that's always a tough blow, right, when a super fan gets evicted. But this blindside is gonna be epic. Honestly, I think when Cliff goes back and watches this episode, as a fan, he might still enjoy it just because the blindside is gonna be so good. So anyway, Sam and Christy were chatting in the boat lounge yesterday, and they, the feeds joined their conversation after it already started, so we didn't hear the beginning. But they were talking about how Nick has loose lips. I mean, just the other night, he ran right to Christy and told her how Kemi was saying that Jess has a power. And Sam was like, that was my story. I wanted to be the one to tell that story, and he took that away from me. So he says, yeah, he's got loose lips, but at the same time, it's really annoying because they know that he tells people like everything, but Sam, he's found out a few times now that Nick has known certain information and didn't pass that along to him. Grateful. Remember, he heard that from Bella and he was just like, oh, why didn't Nick tell me? Yeah, that's gotta hurt. So Christy says that she had such a frantic and emotional week. That was your fault. That she doesn't really want the next HOH. She kind of just wants to like sit back, relax, observe. I mean, Sam must be thinking at this point, like, that must be nice, because I don't think he feels that comfortable. So yeah, Christy wants to observe someone else putting up Nick and Bella so that she can stay in the middle and not take the blame for that, right? Let's be real. So then Sam is asking her, are you still interested in the Flaming Five? So that is the final 5 deal with Christy, Tommy, Sam, Nick, and Bella. And just to clarify here, Christy and Tommy have already outed this alliance to the 6 shooters. So they're like, oh, it's a fake alliance. Like, we couldn't say no to it, so we're just playing along, but it's not real. But at the same time, if Sam, Nick, and Bella were to stay in power, I'm sure they would be like, oh, Flaming Five, you know? So they're definitely trying to play both sides here, Christy and Tommy. So Christy says, yeah, I'm on board with it, but like, not yet. Because yeah, she's waiting to see who's gonna win HOH. So he's like, I know you're really close to Jack, so I don't know how that's gonna work with the Flaming Five. And she says, I am close to Jack, but I would be stupid to think that I'm not on the outskirts of the 2 couples, Jack, Jackson, Holly, and Sis. She's saying that she's like the outsider in that group, which is hilarious because we know that Jack would pick her in less than a heartbeat over Sis. So yeah, she's like, I value Jack, but he could be my greatest ally or my greatest enemy. She says she doesn't trust him 100%, but she keeps him close so that he won't take a shot at her. Come on, oh my god. I think Jack would self-evict before putting up Christy. So Sam says, when it comes to the majority group, the undeniable group, he really feels like he's at the bottom of that, and that worries him. Because he's like, yeah, I mean, we're gonna stick it out till Final 9. But once we vote out all the bottom feeders, I'm gonna be the next one to go. I'm gonna be evicted the first week of jury. He'll be lucky. Honestly, he'll be lucky if he makes it that far at this point, because some of the 6 shooters are already talking about getting rid of Sam this coming week. So he could be in a lot of trouble before jury starts. But Christy says, yeah, that's valid. I feel the same way about myself. Stop. Oh my God. You can't possibly think that you're in that position, right? But then again, Christy thought she was going up on the block this week, and that was insane. So maybe she really does think she's in danger like that. I don't know. But then they were talking about the camp comebackers and who they would like to see return. So Christy says she would like to see David return, and Sam says don't tell anyone, but David cannot stand Jack or Jackson, so he would probably be going after them. And Christy says, you know what, I would like to see David come back and take the shots that I'm too scared to take myself, you know, because Christy's not going to want to go after Jack and Jackson. She's going to want somebody else to do that for her. So Sam is like, well, do you think Jack has low activity power? And of course Christy knows that he does, but she's playing dumb. She's like, oh, I don't know, it's gotta be like Jack or Jackson if it's not you, right? She's like, I wish I knew what it was. She knows. Okay, so then, this is so sad. Cliff checks in with Nick to see where the votes are, and Nick is like, it's solid, Nicole's going, shouldn't be any surprises. Ah! He says, every person I've talked to said they're voting out Nicole, and there haven't been any blindsides yet. So, that sounds like a perfect time to have a blindside because you're not expecting it. So, Cliff is like, I get what you're saying, but I'm just worried that there could be some people like maybe going behind your back on this vote and like doing some, you know, tricksy stuff here. So, I'm a little bit nervous about that. And Nick is like, I don't know why anyone would want to cause a ripple or be in the minority. He's telling Cliff, like, I really think you're going to be okay this week. Nick says it should be undefeated. I think he means unanimous. He doesn't really care what the vote is as long as Nicole goes, but then he also says he would be annoyed if it was like 6-4. It looks like it might be 6-4, but with Cliff going. Okay, so Cliff is like, thank you, I appreciate it. And Nick says again, there's no effing way that Cliff is going this week. And he says, if they're all lying to me, that's gonna draw lines in the sand. And he says, I don't think people want to do that yet. I'd be pretty effing pissed. So I don't know how Tommy's plan is gonna go for next week, where they're going against Nick and Bella on this vote, but Tommy still thinks he's gonna be able to pull them in. I don't think so. If you haven't noticed, Nick and Bella are hotheads, and they're gonna be enraged when they hear this vote. I don't see them wanting to work with 6 shooters after that. So they end their chat by talking crap about Kemi. Oh my God. Get a life. Okay, so then after that, Nick is talking to the cameras and he's saying, I don't think the vote's gonna flip. He would be pissed, lines would be drawn, yada yada yada. And he's saying if that were to happen, he would have to link up with the other side and it would be 6 versus 6. Couple issues with that. Number one, there would be 13 people left, wouldn't there be? Like when somebody comes back from Camp Comeback, it's gonna be 13 people, so it's not gonna be 6-6. There will be a majority on one side. Also, number two, he's just assuming the other side would want him. They're not even a solid group. There is no other side. It's just like people floating around, and I don't know that they would want to work with Nick and Bella, right? They might just take Nick and Bella's places and be like, woo, we're in the majority now, you suck, so you're going. So yeah, it would be interesting. But Nick says he would like to see David come back and take some big shots. A lot of people have been saying that. But he also is like, I don't want anyone from my alliance to go. You're so dumb, oh my God. So Nick says he hasn't even been talking to anyone really about the votes this week. They all know who he wants out. And he says, you don't blindside your own alliance with the votes. You blindside them to get them out of the game. Oh my god. He is going to blow. He's gonna freaking lose it. It's gonna be epic. And then he starts talking crap about Kemi. What is wrong with you? Oh my god, what did she do to you? Get a grip. So then Sam and Bella were having a game chat in the boat lounge, and Sam is telling her about the conversation he had with Christy. And here's something that we didn't hear because that one came in late. Apparently, Christy said that she only told Jack about her whacktivity power because she told Nick first, and then she was afraid that Nick would go and spill it to Jack, and then she would look bad to Jack for not telling him. Ah, that is such bullshit. Honestly though, that's a pretty good lie coming from Christy. Like that's a legit reason. I think they're buying it. I think they are. So he also says Christy said she's committed to the Flaming Five, but not right now, or maybe ever. Depends. And Sam says, looking forward, one of them is going to have to win HOH when they get down to the final 9, or else he is screwed, because he really does feel like he's at the bottom of that majority alliance. If it makes him feel any better, I think him, Bella, and Nick are all pretty evenly at the bottom of that group, so you never know what could happen. So then Bella's saying that this coming week, she would like to see someone like Kat, Jess, or Cliff win the next HOH. Then they could try and convince them to put up Holly as one of the nominees and get rid of her and split up one of those couples so that it's like a more even playing field. Oh, so you did want to put Holly on the block. So Sam says, yeah, I'm not really into that so much, because he feels like he would have a better chance persuading Holly or Sis to keep him when it does get down to that final 9 than Jack or Jackson. And like, why would you not go for one of the big guys? I mean, really. So Sam says that Christy is playing both sides. She's just waiting it out to see who wins and who's in power. Yeah. Okay, moving on. So 6 shooters, they can't decide if they want to tell Kat about the vote beforehand. It seems like there are 4 people who do want to tell her and 2 who do not. So the 2 who do not are Jackson and Holly. They are super against it. They're like, Kat has a horrible poker face. She's gonna blow it. She's gonna let people know what's going on. And if we don't tell her about the vote, we can continue to use her as a mole to get information about Nick, Bella, and Sam. And Jackson is like, you know what? Even if this hurts her feelings being left out of this vote, he is convinced that he'll be able to pull her right back in. Alright, what are you gonna try and sleep with her to secure this like you were before? Gross. So Tommy is arguing it's gonna completely expose the alliance if it's just the 6 of them pulling off this vote, if Kat doesn't vote with them. And Holly was like, yeah, but like, they're gonna know that all 6 of us voted this way, and do you really think that they're gonna go after like Jess and Kat and not us? Come on. Which is a good point. But Jackson and Holly say, we're all Kat has. So like, who else is she gonna run to? Because Tommy is saying, oh, Kat will trust us more if we include her in this and it'll be great. But they're like, no, it's unnecessary. Jackson says they just have to propose an alliance to Kat, and then she'll eat that up with a spoon. Bleh. So Jackson says he's not budging on this one. We'll see, because once Christy catches wind of this, she's not too pleased. So she begins to overthink. Okay, so she was talking to Tommy and then Sis about this separately, and she was asking both of them, like, why don't they want to tell Kat? Why are they not budging? This is weird. Like, what's going on here? Are they not going to follow through and vote to evict Cliff? You know, because if that happens and they vote to evict Nicole and it's just the 4 of us, we're gonna be screwed, and we're gonna be on the wrong side of that vote. So Christy says, if that does happen, I'm gonna deny till I die. Of course you will. So Tommy and Sis are both reassuring her, again separately, that the votes are still there. They just don't want to ruin it by telling Kat, because they think that Kat would blow the blind side and they don't want that to happen. And he keeps saying that she doesn't have a good poker face. So then, moving on, I'm wondering if the diary room gave Nick some sort of warning to watch his mouth yesterday, because he mentioned at least twice that he has to start watching what he says because he kind of forgot that he works with kids. So Bella's asking him, oh, do you miss your kids? And Nick says, I haven't thought about them. Damn, you have been away for over a month and you haven't thought about them once? What? So the first time he mentioned it, it was Nick and Bella. I think they were alone at that point. But then the second time he brought it up, they were talking to Jack. And of course, Nick is talking crap about Kemi because that's all he can really do at this point. So he's like, Kemi flaunting around that she wants to be aggressive is just not the best look. And he's saying this because Kemi said if anyone looks at her the wrong way, she's gonna freak out on them. And then Nick's like, who says that? Who wants to do that? I hate confrontations. And Jack says, me too, but with her, I'm down. Wow, okay. Are you effing kidding me? I can't believe Nick is criticizing Kemi for saying if anyone looks at her the wrong way, she's gonna freak out, when he singled her out and picked out a specific thing that he wanted to do, spit in her face, and kept saying it over and over again, calling her a piece of shit, and it's so bad for Kemi to say what she said. That is ridiculous and hypocritical. And the hypocrisy in this house is unbelievable. Get this. Holly yesterday left an open glass of coffee in the refrigerator door. So when Christy went to open the fridge, the coffee spilled all over the place and everybody's like, ew, gross, what? So Jack grabs the glass, brings it to Holly, who's in the boat room, and he's like lightheartedly yelling at Holly. And he's like, everyone gets punished, I can't just forgive you. And he like slaps her on the hand to be like, oh, I'm punishing you. So that's like consistent. Like, I hate how he thinks he's in control of like the rules of the house and it's like his job to police it, when he's like one of the biggest jerks in there. And his BFF Jackson is always making a mess. And okay, also these people who think it's okay for them to freaking bang in the HOH shower, that's not sanitary. So anyway, Holly was like, oh, do you remember when I said don't yell at me, I'm putting this in the fridge? And Jack is claiming he wasn't in the room at the time. But then he says, if you're gonna put open stuff in the fridge, just don't put it on the door because it'll splash. What? This is so infuriating. After he was freaking out at Kemi for putting her half drunk, whatever, protein shake in the fridge and being like, we all keep our stuff out of the fridge so that we can keep all the food in there. We don't put our drinks in there. It's not okay. And then he's telling Holly, oh, if you're gonna put a drink in there, make sure it's on one of the shelves and not on the door. Why is it okay for Holly? Are you gonna give her a condescending speech? No, you're gonna freaking fake play, yell at her or whatever. So then Jack says, you're lucky Jackson didn't find it. He would punish you, probably in the shower. I'm gonna vomit. Okay, you know that SNL sketch where Kenan Thompson is the bartender and it's like the two gross people that are left in the bar. One of them is usually Kate McKinnon and then the other one is the host for that week. Well, there was this one where Kenan was so grossed out that he had like a garage door over his face and he like lowered it. That's me listening to that comment from Jack. Weird and gross and uncomfortable. Blech. All right, so back to the game. After more repetitive debate, 6 shooters agree they are gonna tell Kat what's happening with the vote. First they were saying literally 1 or 2 minutes before the vote, but no, now they're like, okay, we'll do it a little bit earlier than that. But they're also saying she doesn't have to vote with them. She can decide how she wants to vote, but they would actually prefer for her to vote Nicole out because then she can, you know, continue to work as a mole for them. Okay, So then, two quick things. The house guests gathered for the last like family dinner with all 16 of them there. They all went around and shared their favorite memories from the past month. Blah, 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 blah. I can't stand the fake shit. Moving on. Nick and Bella exchanged I love yous in private last night. Okay, and Nicole had a game chat with Sam. This was like a late night chat. And Nicole is asking him, do you think there's any salvaging my game here? Like, am I gonna get voted out? Is it a done deal? And Sam says, it looks pretty bad. And as far as he knows, it does look bad, but he doesn't realize that 6 shooters are gonna keep her. So he's like, you could talk to Nick again tomorrow. For what? What say does Nick have? I mean, really. But then he's trying to help her with like a last minute campaign strategy, telling her who she should focus on talking to, what she should say, blah, blah, blah. And it's unclear at that point if he's blowing smoke or he does want her to stay. I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't mind her staying because I think they get along really well. But I don't think he would be that upset if she were to go because that's what they wanted in the first place. So I think he's setting it up so that if she does stay, she will be happy with Sam, you know? So then today, was it Cliff's final Cliff Notes? Oh, he doesn't think that he's going tonight, but he realizes it is definitely a possibility because he knows that the votes can flip like that. And he also knows that Christy, Tommy, Sis, and Jack all want him out because when Christy listened in on his Cliff Notes, she heard that he's going after the couple. So yeah, they want him to go. And he knows it was really damaging to his game that time that she overheard him talking. So he played himself. Yeah. So anyway, he did like all of his shout outs and everything. And it really is going to suck to see a super fan go, but Nicole's a pretty big fan too, so, you know, it's gonna be okay. All right, so then Nicole was doing some last minute campaigning as she planned out with Sam last night. So she went to Tommy first and she was like, I love Cliff, obviously, but I'm trying to stay in this game. And Cliff is a bigger threat to you. He has mentioned you as a target. I have not. And she says, I came into this house to make big moves and I've got bigger fish to fry than you. So she doesn't drop names here. So Tommy could very well think like, oh, she's talking about Nick and Bella. So it really depends on who she's talking to, you know, and who they think those big fish are that she wants to fry. But she's not dropping those names. So Tommy's like, oh, I'm about it, but I'm voting with the house, sorry. So, you know, he encourages her to talk to others. And of course we know he's already planning on voting to keep her, but he's keeping it under wraps because he doesn't want that getting out. So then after this conversation, Nicole talks to the camera and she's like, I really want to stay. I want to take down the big cluster of people. Why not? Come on. Yeah, right? Why not? Do it. So I'm not even sure at this point if she would go after Nick and Bella or like Jack and Jackson. I don't know. I'm not sure if she mentioned it in the conversation with Sam last night because that conversation was really, really long. So I don't know if she said or not. Also, I don't know if she would have been totally honest with him. Obviously, Sam is super close to Nick and Bella, so she probably wouldn't tell him like, I'm going after Nick and Bella, but you never know. Okay, meanwhile, Sam was talking to Nick and Bella in the HOH room. He's telling them about the conversation with Nicole from the night before. And he says Nicole swore that she would not put Nick or Bella up on the block if she stayed in one HOH. He says she's down to make big moves. 100% would go after Jack and Mickey. That'd be entertaining as hell. So Nick is saying, you know what? I don't think Nicole would put me up. I believe it. But he would be scared and like crapping his pants the whole time, wondering if he was gonna get backdoored. So he says, now that he's thinking about it, yeah, the other side, they were probably dropping our names, but in a planting seeds sort of way. He's claiming it's the same thing as him dropping Holly and Sis's names, you know, maybe not a target now, but further down the line. Nope, they want you out now. They were definitely dropping your names for real. So then Bella's thinking, she's like, ooh, I wonder if the others forgave Nicole so quickly because what she was saying was true. Yeah, that is correct. They realized that she was telling the truth. They knew in the moment. That's why the reactions were so big, because they were trying to cover it up. But Bella is just realizing now that that could be a possibility. So Nicole continues on her campaign trail. She talks to Christy, Kat, Sis, Holly, Jack, and they all tell her, we're voting with the house. Again, they're voting to keep her except for Kat, but they're not telling her that to her face. And then in other news, Jack shaved his beard. It looks so weird. Oh my god, he looks completely different. Also, he didn't shave it all at once. He like shaved this part and then like left this part. It was just like, ooh. And then he shaved everything. It was just, it's strange. It's quite an appearance change. So then after the HOH lockdown, Holly talked to Kat and she let her know we are voting Cliff out this week. However, you should still vote to keep him because we want you to be safe with Nick and Bella. Do they really care about that? But also, you know, you can get information from them and bring it back to us. And Kat is so on board. She's like, yes, absolutely, I'll do it. She's excited to show off her like mole skills. So she's really looking forward to it. And after she had that conversation, she was keeping quiet about it from what I saw. She wasn't letting on that Nicole would be staying. She even talked to Nick and Cliff, and she wasn't giving away any info, so I guess they misjudged her. But anyway, other than that, everyone was grooming and getting ready for the live show, and it looks like unless something crazy happens, Cliff is gonna be going, and the vote should be 6-4, I believe. So it's gonna be a fun blindside on Nick and Bella. Again, feel horrible for Cliff, but it is what it is. And after the eviction, someone's coming back from Camp Comeback. And we should also have a new HOH tonight. I don't know if the HOH will be shown on the episode, but it should happen tonight. So that's gonna be fun. But let me know who you guys are rooting for to come back from Camp Comeback, and who you want to see win the next HOH. And until tomorrow, much love.